Okay, so this is a Bookwild podcast coming to you from LaGuardia Airport special. And earlier this month, everyone got to meet Tyler, one of my family members. Actually, he's my husband. In case you guys didn't catch up with that, but yes, this, as you guys may know, because you probably have been following my stories all week, this is Jamie, my sister-in-law.
Hello.
So Jamie has been going book wild with me all over New York. Is there anything else you want the people to know about you?
I mean, I'm a big reader.
Yes.
I might not read all the same types as Kate, but she's
Right.
very good at recommending books, both in her genre and outside of her genre.
Yeah.
And I really love the bookish community that she is building with her podcast. It's just so cool to see, and I got to be in it this week, and I haven't been able to do that yet. It's one thing to listen to your podcast, and then it's another to see how everyone just relates to each other and is so happy for each other and supports each other. It's just really neat. I got to see it firsthand.
That is something that was really cool. So I'm going to take it all the way back to my second episode of Between the Lines before it was officially just all Book Wild. Ashley Winstead told me, she was like, thriller authors are just the nicest people I've ever met. And I remember her saying it and being like, oh, that's cool. But I feel like you were even getting to experience that too. They're all just so supportive of each other.
I don't know. You expect thriller writers, especially once you write dark things. When you meet them, they're going to be dark. I don't know.
I know.
Most of them are bubbly and nice and warm and funny, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Not what I expected.
Yeah. So we are in LaGuardia, as we mentioned. So there will be some interruptions. So we came to New York for Elizabeth McCullough Keenan and Greg Warren's book launch. And I always take so long to say her name because I just know her as Liz. But they are publishing under their own separate names now. And their book Trust Issues came out January 28th, 2 days ago.
I just finished it this morning.
Okay, you did. Wasn't that ending cool?
Yes.
I loved the ending.
I couldn't, the last half, especially, I kept turning, and I was trying not to skim, I can get speed reading sometimes, and I didn't want to miss details, but I wanted to know what happened.
I know, the ending is so cool, guys. You guys will love it. So, they had a book launch at Barnes & Noble. It was the same Barnes & Noble that they had their first book launch at, which I thought was super cool. And the reason I knew that, well, a couple reasons, but when we got there, I saw that my friend Drew was there.
Yes.
So, he's a man reader on Instagram, which, I love that. He changed his handle this year, his username.
Love it.
And I love it.
I love it so much.
I think it's one of the best ones.
Kate told me what it was. I said, that is so clever.
Yeah. So, I didn't even know everyone who was going to be there. I knew that there would be some people that I would know. And we walked in, and I was like, that's Drew. So we talked to him for a little bit. And then the event itself was very cool. I am a big Clémence Michelon fan as well. And she was in conversation with Liz and Greg. And she just had some really good questions. And you had a nice observation about who Clémence looks like.
Yeah, she looks exactly like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It was the hair.
All the Taylor
first
vibes.
It was the hair and the bangs. Then it was the color of her hair. Then the lipstick.
The red lip.
And, she just looked a lot like Taylor Swift.
She's never going to go out of style is what we're saying.
Yeah, for sure.
So she was super fun. I loved getting to hear her talk with them. And she was on the Imposter Hour podcast. So if anyone listening to this was as big of a fan of The Quiet Tenant as I was, which I accidentally called The Silent Tenant on an Instagram story one time, and thankfully Dare helped me out there. If you want to hear her talk a little bit about The Quiet Tenant, but also about imposter syndrome as a French woman writing in English, you can check out Liz and Greg's Imposter Hour episode with her. So that was super cool. Before that, though, we had a cool experience at a little sandwich shop. I forgot. We need to talk about that. So anyway, we landed. We got to the hotel. We were hungry, and so we needed to find somewhere. And we found this cute little place called Sandwell. Get Sandwell on Instagram if you want to go follow them. You had like the best turkey meatball sub ever or something.
I got a toasted turkey meatball sub, and it was literally heaven. Like, I was cold from walking around. I was hungry.
Yeah.
And it was just the perfect amount of toasted bread,
Mm-hmm.
creamy cheese, hot meatball. Like, it just was perfect.
Everything you want.
Everything I wanted.
Yeah. And the owner was really cute, and because we were so fun, he offered us some of his oatmeal Nutella cookies.
Well, and before he offered it, what did he ask?
What did he ask?
He asked if we had allergies. It was so sweet.
He came up and said, "Excuse me, do you have any allergies?" You're right. And I turned and I was like, "How funny would it be?" Me too.
I don't know why he wants to know about them.
I'm like, cats and mosquito bites. Yeah, he asked if we had allergies, and then he gave us oatmeal and Nutella cookies. They were fantastic. I will be looking up a recipe for something similar to that. That is 100% for sure. They're so good. So yeah, that was before. And then after, what was it? I suddenly needed caffeine. I was like, oh, because there was an after party. And I was like, I'm definitely gonna need caffeine. So then we wandered around with Google Maps, full tourist mode. And eventually we found a Fresh Bites little market corner shop. Cool thing for you guys to know about Jamie, because I know a lot of us in the Bookish community have emotional support water bottles. Jamie loves water as an emotional support item just as much.
I don't go anywhere without my water bottle.
So we got really excited when we found this market that had like gallons of water. Yeah. But we also knew we couldn't buy them and then take them to the after party. So we were like, noted, we'll come back and get it. I got a coffee so that I could wake up a little bit. And then we headed to the gin mill, which was where their after party was. It was very, very cool. It was, we like went, it was a speak. We went like underground, underneath the restaurant into a speakeasy for the event. That was very vibey. Yeah. And then we got there very early because of course we did. And then Drew got there, and so we got to talk to Drew some more, which was super fun.
It was fun to meet Drew. Yeah. Like the Bookish community welcomed me with open arms.
I know.
Even though they don't really know anything about me.
I know. They're the ones that I have found are great Bookish people.
Well, and then as people started showing up, it was all, Kate. They were so excited to meet the podcaster. She was kind of like a little mini celebrity.
Yes, because I forgot to say there's another dog, so I'm distracted by all the dogs in this airport, guys. We just saw the cutest French bulldog that reminded me of my pit bulls, and I was like, anyway, to your point, we saw Corinne Jade on our way out of Barnes & Noble. I did not expect to see her there. She's the author of The Astrology House. I interviewed her. She is the Pop Fiction Women podcast that you guys keep hearing me talk about, where she was like, listened to a whole Gone Girl interview that did not end up referencing Gillian Flynn. It talked about the men related to the project. And so she was like, I want to change that. So that's Pop Fiction Women. Stories that women write, whether it's movies, TV shows, books. So yeah, she has a podcast too as well, and she's the author of The Astrology House, which is one I do think Jamie would like. That's on my list for Jamie eventually. So that was crazy running into her. We were just like walking down the stairs, and I was like, Corinne? And she was like, I've never seen you in person. But back to what you were saying, at the after party, then Tessa Weger showed up, and she even said something along the lines of like, have I met you in person? So it's kind of funny too that like some of us, we've all known each other so long that it might not have been her. I think it was her, but someone asked me, have we met in person yet? Yeah. And I was like, no, we haven't.
Well, if you talk so much to somebody online, you feel like you know them, and you have such a signature look too.
I do.
That it's just easy to spot you, and you're like, I feel like I've talked to you many times.
Yeah, yeah. So that was really cool. That was really cool. Getting to see everybody there, and then it got busy, and so we ended up walking home. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun to mingle.
It was great. It was fun to mingle.
We picked up our gallons of water on the way home.
No, we felt much better.
That made me feel a lot better. And so then that night, it was our first night in the hotel.
You edited.
And I edited until
I read.
Yeah, you were reading, and
Did you fall asleep editing?
Yes. I was so convinced that I could, with pure will, just keep myself awake and finish it because I wanted to post day 1 before I even fell asleep. And I woke up at like 3 a.m. like seated, and I was like looking around, and I was like, wait, where am I? And then I was like, oh, so then I like closed the laptop. But what's funny is Tyler's had that happen before, and I was like, you fell asleep editing? Like you didn't just like
and look at you
go to sleep? And then I was like, oh, it is just easy to do. It's just easy to do when you're editing. So I slept very well.
I slept really well both nights. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
I was tired enough that it made sense. But I woke up and I got back to editing, and I was like, we are going to get this out before we head out. So I basically edited until, I don't know, when we left in the morning. But Greg had texted us.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, are you guys in town again today? And I was like, we are. I'm loosely. And so I sent him like the list of bookstores we thought we were going to go look at. So we were going to meet him. I told him we can meet him at the Mysterious Bookshop kind of whenever, because that is kind of his hometown bookshop. So he said he can meet us there at like 2:30. So we embarked on our first subway ride.
Which is a little intimidating.
It was like finding the station, entrance,
getting our Metro Pass, thinking we needed to get it when we could have just tapped to pay, but we just didn't know.
I thought it said tap to pay on like the machine, so I thought we needed to like sign up for tap to pay. No, we didn't.
No, you just literally tap and pay. Like it was insane.
Yeah, so at one point we had Metro cards, but got on the subway and made our way to the way to Housing Works, which is where Taylor Swift shot the bookstore scenes for All Too Well 10-minute version, which won awards. So
yeah,
that's kind of cool. It was a cool vibe. We just kind of looked around.
Yeah, I don't think we got anything there.
No, it was kind of cool seeing the staircase where it all happens, where it all goes down. But yeah, I was aware of like, they were kind of like used books. I can't remember if all of them were. I think they kind of were. But there weren't tons of thrillers there. So it was still fun to look around. But it wasn't anything that I was like, oh, I know that one or whatever. So after that, we went to a really cute place called Bibliotech.
Yeah, I think that was...
I was within walking distance of Housing Works too, so that was nice. It is just like 2 floors of books essentially, like just a big open area.
Coffee and wine.
And then they had coffee and wine, and we didn't end up like eating there, but you could. So I got kind of caught up on some content stuff, and we had coffee because
that was the theme of the week.
We were, I would feel when I was like, oh, okay, I need caffeine now. So that was nice. I had a caramel latte there. It was very good.
Yeah.
And then we hopped on a subway again and headed to the Mysterious Bookshop. That's when we headed there. We saw the World Trade Center
Yeah,
Memorial on
I
our
didn't
way.
realize we were going to be right
I
there.
didn't either. The architecture there is very beautiful.
And it was absolutely
very
beautiful.
stunning. And I sent Tyler a picture, and he responded and said, it legit looks like you're just in a movie. And that's what you had been saying. You just kept saying, I feel like we're on a movie
I was
set.
on a movie set because, like, you know, it just, the buildings are so close together. Everything's so condensed.
Yeah.
It's not like that in Indiana.
No, it's not.
Everyone's really
It's
spread
just
out.
not.
Everyone has yards. Even a small yard is big compared to here.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. So yeah, it does feel very movie set over there. The sky was really blue when we were there, so all the like reflecting off of the buildings was very pretty on that side.
Yeah.
So we went into the mysterious bookshop, which again, it's kind of like 2 floors of just books against the walls, and there's a spot to sit, which like always good when you're just traveling around everywhere. Yeah. So we sat down. We got there a little bit before Greg. He was not late. It was a flexible time.
Yeah.
But we got there, and so we sat down, and what was funny is like where we were sitting blocked. We were blocked from the entrance. Like the entrance couldn't see us if you were at the entrance.
Yeah.
So I was recording, and you can hear it when he walks in, and the owner is like, "Oh, hey, Greg," and I'm like, "Jamie, it's Greg." And so I was trying to surprise him and be like, "Greg." He wasn't hearing me, and I thought I was being kind of loud, but
I thought but he just, I don't think he was listening. It's okay. He was looking at books.
He was looking at books. He was in his
But you know how we get when we look at books.
Yeah. So, I got some stalker shots of him, and then we talked with Greg for a while.
We did. There was a really good conversation. That was so gracious of him to give us his time.
I agree.
And we got to pick his brain about what it's like to be an author and his process, and just, I don't know, it was neat.
Yeah.
It was encouraging, I thought.
It was really cool. I just love Liz and Greg. I've always felt like I could talk to them for like 3 hours. That's kind of how I end up feeling with them.
Yeah.
So it was exciting that we got to talk with him. And it was cool because I started noticing, like, I am in my little thriller bubble of books.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen all of my favorite books. And it was cool seeing just, like, all my favorite books in one place. So then we tried to think, Greg and I worked on some thriller book recs for Jamie that wouldn't annihilate her.
Yeah,
She does not need a Gear Bleak Billings recommendation.
I don't know if it's because I have kids or what, but I can't go dark.
Yeah, I have.
My thrillers.
But we did talk about that. I was saying that I've heard some women who like really love them, and when they had kids, they're like, can't do it anymore.
No.
Yeah. So, and some people just don't, even if they don't have kids. So everyone has a preference. Yeah. So I got a bunch of books there, and that was very fun. What was the other thing I was thinking about while we were there? I don't know. Greg and I were just walking around talking about books together, though. I just love talking about thrillers with other thriller lovers.
Yeah. All 3 of us bought books.
Yeah, we all bought books. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. That was super fun. And so I was fading at that point. I was excited that I was able to be enlivened by our conversation. I was fading, and I was like, Jamie, we just go back to the hotel for a little bit after this. So Greg taught us some subway stuff in the sense that it was the first time we went on one of the express ones.
Yes.
So we rode back to, basically rode and walked back to our hotel with him, kind of. He lived close to where our hotel was. So I was just trying to summon strength.
Good job.
Because Times Square. And that was really the only time we could go at night.
We almost didn't go.
I was very tired.
We talked about toyed with going today.
Mm-hmm.
We knew today would be a lot colder.
Yeah.
And last night was the only time to see it in the dark.
Yes.
Plus we needed to eat dinner.
Yeah, we asked Greg. I was finally like, I want pizza. And we asked Greg
New York
what
pizza.
near us. Yeah. And he said Patsy's Pizzeria. I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was.
It was amazing.
It was fantastic.
We smashed that pizza. I
We
mean, we
ate
shared
it so
one, and I was
fast,
like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna have 2 pieces. We
I
both
know.
had like our whole half.
And it's like, we also discovered we didn't have a fridge or microwave,
in our
so
room.
we couldn't bring food back. So there's like this frenzy around food that it was like, okay, inhale sustenance now.
You don't want to like waste it,
or be super and be super hungry later. So it was good though. I mean, we got a small one. Not that it doesn't matter what size we got, but we split a pizza. It was fantastic though. It really was very good, and the pepperonis were very spicy, and the sauce was so fresh. There was the sauce.
The sauce was amazing.
Yeah, the sauce was
and the fire,
impressive.
the wood fire, roasted.
Yes, the brick oven.
Thank you.
Yeah, the crispy crust. That's Tyler's favorite. He loves that. There's a guy who rates pizzas, and he's very popular. He's polarizing, so I just won't say his name right now, but he calls it the undercarriage of the pizza. if it can like hold itself up or if it flops, it was crispy. So it would be scoring high on that scale. It was perfect. It was so good. So that was a good recommendation. I'm glad he gave us that. Then, with our new knowledge, a little new knowledge of the subway, especially from Greg, we made our way to Times Square.
What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was that I was surprised that I didn't feel overstimulated. I was like, oh, this is just pretty.
It was it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
It really is.
Man-made.
I know.
It is impressive.
It really is. It's so bright. And so we were just like walking. There's kind of like 2 streets of it. We were just recording everything. And I was just...
I was FaceTiming my entire family.
Yeah, so. We were full tourist mode, and I was shocked at how much I loved it.
Yeah, worth it.
It was definitely worth it. We even finished the second half of a reel that I need to be a big girl and post, even though I'm self-conscious about it.
It's a cool reel. It looks really cool. We
hopped over the candlestick, essentially, of this camera, actually, that we're staring at right now. So we did a reel where we started off in the Indy airport, and we jump over it, and you have to jump over the camera to finish it wherever you're wanting to finish it. And I was so torn. Like, at first, when we did the first part of it, I was like, oh, we'll do it when we land or something. And I was like, no, it would make sense for it to be something recognizable for that kind of reel. So we did it like right where the corner happens, essentially. We started hopping over stuff. Nobody cared. Yeah, we did it. I can say that I hopped around. When I told Tyler that we did it, he was like, I really hope you guys show up on Influencers in the Wild, because there's an account where people just
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I was like,
I don't think we looked that.
I would love to.
On that, he posts more people being like
wild.
Like really wild, or like half naked or something.
We were definitely not half naked.
It was too cold to be half naked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But I'd be more than happy to show up on Influencers in the Wild. That works for me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was really cool. It was very cold. Very, very cold. I do remember even my fingers were like, when we then eventually headed back home, or went back to the subway, I was like, yeah, I'm even a little bit cold right now. But you just just power through it. Yeah. Record all of it. So yeah, we made it home. It was 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I was bound and determined that I would edit like I was the night before. And then long story short, anyone who knows about editing and trying to transfer stuff from your phone and from a camera onto your laptop when the Wi-Fi isn't great. When the Wi-Fi is not great, the AirDrop doesn't work that well either. So it's just like, I did not have the brain capacity to edit after I got everything moved over. So I got everything moved over. We I can't remember what we talked about, something about just recapping the day. And then I fell asleep. I don't know when, but I did eventually.
I was tired.
Yeah. I didn't sleep as well. I woke up at 4:20 for some reason and really struggled. But it wasn't bad sleep either. It wasn't bad. I just need my body pillow. I'm excited for my body pillow tonight. So yeah, that was that. And then I woke up. We couldn't get a late checkout. So we knew we were going to have to leave by noon. I actually had to do a telehealth appointment at 9:30. So like if I didn't say yes, I would have run out of my meds. So I was like, I guess I'm doing a telehealth appointment from the Lucerne. Yeah, it did not take very long. So leading up to that, I was like, okay, now I have to edit it. And I got almost done. I just didn't have the voiceover yet. And then I had my telehealth appointment. And then it was like 10 o'clock and it was like 2 hours left before you have to check out. And so then I was just power editing again because there was significantly more that we did that day.
Yeah, yesterday was a big day.
Because it was our only full day there. So, came in right under the wire. I rendered it and we had to check out. And I literally finished rendering, I made the thumbnail in Canva in the hotel lobby. And then had to do all the like subtitles and putting the music underneath it. But it got posted.
Yeah.
And
now you have a lot.
I have a lot of, yeah, I have to do day 3 next. So the Strand was what we went to next. I had it on my list. It's kind of famous for its 18 miles of books, which I think has to do with square feet of bookshelf space. But it was very cute. Like, it's a commercial bookstore. I know. I don't know that it is anymore, so I'll fact check that later. I'll give everyone an update, but I think it's not anymore, but it's the idea. And anyone who read The 3 Lives of Kate Kay, there is a reference because the character is an author. The main character is an author. But when she was a kid, she carried around a Strand tote. So she has that tote is like a through line throughout the book. So when I was reading that and knew we were coming to New York, I was like, well, man, I definitely have to go there too. Yeah. Such a good one. You would love that one. It was one of my, like, it's not a thriller. There's kind of a mystery to it. But it's more like, it's definitely character. It's very character driven. Yeah. And it's just like a very beautiful, heartfelt
I like those
story. It's really good. And I'm still trying to get Kate Fagan on the podcast. So if anyone is listening, tell her my DM is waiting for her requests. But yeah, it was cool. It was so huge. We had to stop ourselves from buying mugs or water bottles and more books.
Bookmarks.
I should have taken it out of my backpack, but the camera is sitting on my backpack right now. We used to live here, my absolute obsession. Everyone who has listened to anything that I have recorded since November has probably heard me talk about it. So I finally got a physical version, and I liked getting the physical version at a cool bookstore. It was kind of fun doing that with one of my faves of the year. Oh, yes, the mystery thriller. I probably could have kept wandering, but he was just standing there. Jamie's good at being like, maybe we should ask someone. And I was like, oh yeah, we can ask people things.
It's just easier. It might be the lazy way.
Maybe. I don't know.
You could look at it either way. Like, either I don't feel like looking, or,
right.
Save time, ask somebody who knows.
Yeah.
And he knew right where it was. We never would have found it.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was going to be, I didn't know that the back area was separated by genre.
Yeah, well, and you thought it was more recent.
Well, it's so popular, and I'm going to have to follow up on this one too. I thought this one was so mainstream popular that it would show up, because there were so many, like, book displays.
There were a lot, yeah.
I was, like, so sure that it was one that would have shown up. I was surprised that it wasn't, so maybe I've just been insulated in my thriller horror world, but I thought that one was one that crossed over. Yeah. Who knows? But we found it eventually, and now I am an owner of the physical copy. What else? Then we just needed coffee. We stopped at Bean. Yeah. Just literally needed energy. So I got chai. And a chocolate croissant that they did not warm up, which was an interesting choice. And they gave me a small instead of a large.
Well, she probably won't tag it, but
It's not,
it's just a
yeah.
coffee shop.
It wasn't, it was, they felt very scattered.
They did.
Whatever.
They felt like they weren't really
yeah.
paying attention. Okay.
But we just needed something to have
up.
the
Yep.
brain power to then take the subway back to our hotel. We tried to find some souvenirs.
We didn't love anything. I mean, that one
us.
green sweatshirt, but like it was nothing special, and I just was like,
yeah.
Eh.
So yeah, then we made it back to the hotel, picked up our bags that were in storage, and they had a shuttle that took us straight here.
It was cheaper than an Uber and less stressful than a subway.
And didn't have to think or anything, just walked out the door.
Yeah.
And now we're here, and we're about to fly home to Indiana. So yeah.
Whirlwind. I would call it a whirlwind.
It was a whirlwind. It's like, I feel like I have only been like filming stuff and while learning how to get places. And then when we were back, it was just all editing.
Yeah.
And it flew by.
Once we got to the airport, we both felt the adrenaline start to leak out of our bodies.
You could tell all of a sudden I was tired. Like, oh, you could just feel it. You know, I'm talking about Severance all the time. It literally felt like the moment where they transitioned. It felt like I felt the ew feeling when we got here, and I was like,
you could kind of turn it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, all you had to do was get to your gate, and we weren't checking bags.
Yeah.
We weren't navigating more subways.
Yeah, and now I'm like, oh, the adrenaline was. Yeah. My left ankle is a lot sore than I think I just wasn't aware of it. I sprained it a couple months ago. Yeah. So yeah, now we're on the come down. I am really tired. But
and Tyler's coming to get you.
Yeah.
Cody's coming to get me, Tyler's brother.
We'll just be back in Indy.
We'll be back in Indy. Back to Marco Poloing.
Yeah. We Marco Polo a lot. So anyway, it was fun. I had a lot of fun building a Bookish trip. Like,
you did a good job
building it out. I'll link them. I just looked at like 4 blogs about Bookish things to do in Manhattan. And that gave me plenty of ideas, so I'll link those. I had a couple conversations with some people who like the idea of Bookish retreats. So, Laura, Thoughts from the Island, said I was doing Bookish tourism, and I am obsessed with that terminology. But if anyone is interested in the idea of Bookish, Bookwild retreats, message me, because I'm interested in. I'm going to be going more and more Bookwild this year, so everything's an option. Do you have any takeaways?
I would say just the power of building a community in your niche that you're passionate about. I think a lot of people don't credit that, like what it feels like to connect with people who are passionate about the exact same thing as you. And for you, it's not even just books; it's thriller books. Like you have a specific, like niche. You went detailed, with it, and so, and just to see how people lit up when they saw you, and like when you were talking, and you guys were all, and I got to meet them, and they were all so sweet to me, and it was just. I think that was the coolest part.
Yeah.
To see that.
That's what was cool for me. I was having those realizations kind of at the end of 2024. I was like, I didn't think I was going to build a community, but then I did. And it's fun. Yeah. It's so cool. It's so wild to me that I live in Whitestown and I came to New York and there are people who recognize me.
Yeah.
It's still sinking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. Super cool.
We'll see. Maybe there's going to be another one happening. Maybe.
Who knows? It was good to meet some of you this week.
Yeah, go follow Jamie. I'll tag her.
It's not as exciting as Kate's, though.
But you can still follow her if you want to.
You can, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.